Chapter 11. In the land of craftsmen, in a blacksmith shop, an old blacksmith is constantly swinging his hammer. Kakashi followed Mifune, and Koyuki also follow them. Mifune said, "Sakeza, I come for some business." The old blacksmith raised his head, looked at Mifune, and then looked at Kakashi. He then said, "Is it for this boy?" Kakashi hearing this came up and said, "Yes sir, I wanna ask for your help to make me a sword." "I can do it, but you need to find the materials yourself," said the old blacksmith. This. Kakashi took out the white sword and said, "Sir, right now I only have this broken sword. Can you give me some more material to create it?" "Of course I will pay for it." The old blacksmith took Kakashi's white sword and measured it. He said, "This sword is made from chakra rare metal, but it has been broken. Only with such a point, I am afraid that I can't help you. As for other materials, I don't have chakra rare metal here." Kakashi is feeling helpless. He originally thought that the blacksmith would have this kind of metal. He didn't expect this old blacksmith don't have it. At this time, Mifune pulled out a strange ore from his bag and said, "This should be enough, right?" After the old blacksmith saw the ore, his eyes brightened, and quickly said, "Yes, this is a good thing. Where did you get it from?" "Haha, I got it by chance," Mifune said with a smile. "Mifune-san, this." Kakashi said unsurely. "It's okay, I already have black sword, and it's already made from chakra's rare metal. I don't this stuff anymore so it's useless." "This, thank you very much. That's alright, what I want is for you to inherit White Fang legend and carry it forward. Please be assured, I will do it." Kakashi said awkwardly. "Sakeza, how long will it take to make this sword?" asked Mifune. 3 days is enough with my skill. It's good, otherwise I won't be finding you just now. Then come over and take it after 3 days, I won't send you off." The old blacksmith finished talking and then took the ore and began to refine it. "This guy is still the same." Mifune shook their head with a wry smile and turned to Kakashi and said, "Kakashi, you can live in my house for 3 days. "Okay, thank you very much Mifune-san." "You're welcome. Koyuki also wants to spend more time with you," Mifune said and looked at Koyuki. Koyuki looked innocently at the two and smiled cutely. Cherry Blossom's tree, at the courtyard, Kakashi is moving a long sword. He is practicing the Heitake sword technique. Mifune looking at him, and he nodded from time to time. This long sword is not the one that Kakashi wants to make, but Mifune lent it for Kakashi to practice. Seeing Kakashi training, Mifune said, "Kakashi, your sword skill movement is good, but you still need to believe in your sword." Kakashi sheathed his sword and said, "Thank you for the pointer Mifune-san." "Haha, it's okay Kakashi. I want to practice some movement, you can see it if you want," said Mifune. "Okay." Kakashi with his eyes shined answered. And it was at this moment Kakashi see Mifune's sword. Mifune pulled out his own black sword and start moving under the cherry blossoms. The sword was fierce, but it looked calm. It feels really strange. The pace of Mifune's movement is even stranger, his speed is very fast which makes Kakashi a bit stunned. He subconscious wants to open his Sharingan to see it, but he hold it back. After all, this movement may be the secret technique of Mifune, and to copy it, he needs consent from Mifune. If he is an enemy, then there is no problem, but Mifune isn't an enemy, he's a friend of Kakashi's father. Mifune sheathed his sword and said, "Kakashi, what did you see?" Mifune-san's sword movement is really fascinating, and it seems that there is some amount of spiritual force attached to your sword, Kakashi said. Mifune after hearing this laugh loudly and say, "You really are Sakumo's son, just by seeing it once you get it. Very good, I believe that you will be very strong in the future. Thank you for your praise Mifune-san. In addition to these, what do else you see?" asked Mifune. This. Mifune-san's footwork seems to be somewhat unusual. It looks very strange and quick. It looks slow at first, but it can be fast at an instant. You really can see it. Yes, this footwork is somewhat similar to the Shunshin no Jutsu, but you don't need chakra at all. Do you know who invented this footwork? I don't know, Kakashi shook head said. You are very familiar with this person. Kakashi's pupils shrank and said, "Is it, my father?" "Yes, it is Sakumo. At the beginning, Sakumo reinvented the footwork that applied to the swordsman, and taught it to me. Didn't your father teach you?" Mifune seemed to have some doubts. Kakashi shook his head and said with a wry smile, "No, my father died before he can teach me those skills. My current Heitake sword technique is just based on the records from my family scroll. It turns out to be like that. Then I will teach you this skill, its name is Shunpo. After all, it is the move created by your father. If you don't learn it, it will be really strange," said Mifune. "Thank you very much Mifune-san. Read latest OVLS at nv/e/l/by.com. Then let us start now," Mifune said as he demonstrated the footwork once again. Kakashi did not open his Sharingan, and use his own eye to see it. Mifune is moving slowly so that Kakashi can understand it, and at the same time he's also talking about Shunpo's movement. After the demonstration, Mifune then asked, "How about it Kakashi?" Kakashi didn't answer right away, but closed his eye and he seemed to be thinking about something. A moment later, Kakashi opened his eyes and with a smile he says, "Mifune-san, I think I understand." "Oh, then can you try it?" said Mifune in surprise. Just by watching it again, is Kakashi really able to do it? Kakashi then stands with the tip of his toes and he disappears from his place. The next second he appears 5 meters away. This. Mifune is stunned, he can already do it? Although it is only basic, but it is indeed Shunpo. His talent is really terrifying. You really are Sakumo's son. This is the only thing Mifune can says. Mifune-san, thank you very much, Kakashi said gratefully. Mifune waved his hands and said, you're welcome, this is the skill of your father. I only help teaching you in his place. Shunpo, which is a kind of taijutsu, will become more terrifying as long as his own fitness continues to increase. Today's Kakashi is still at the basic. Even Mifune is far from mastering it. How terrifying is the real Shunpo? Is it comparable to the Shunshin of Shisui? But today's Shisui is probably just a 7 or 8-year-old kid. It will be long before he can be that fast. Chapter 12. 3 days later, Kakashi looks at the long sword in his hand. It's about 1 meter long, with a single-sided edge and a silver-white blade. Kakashi tried to swing it, and a smile of satisfaction appeared on his face. The old blacksmith said, this sword used the metal from your broken sword and Mifune's ore. It took me 3 days to make it. It is considered to be best work I have ever created. Thank you very much, sir, Kakashi said as he inserting the long sword into the sheath. No, this is my job. I only hope that you will make the name of this sword resound in the future. Right, you need to give this sword a name, said Sakeza. I will name it Millennium, Kakashi said after thinking for a while. Well, after creating this sword, I'm really satisfied in this life. Sakeza said. Sakeza, you shouldn't said that. After all, we should always strive to be better, said Mifune. Ha ha ha, you are right. Sakeza smiled. Mifune-san, I have been here for a few days now, it is time for me to go back to the village, Kakashi said. Okay, you should take care. I have to leave here in a few days, to go back to the land of iron. If you have time, you should visit me and Koyuki. After all, she will miss you, said Mifune. Today, Koyuki did not come along, but stayed in Mifune's home, probably feeling sad to part with him, so she can't bear to come here. Okay, if I go to the land of iron in the future, I will visit you. Kakashi then turned and left. It has been half a month from the start of this mission, and it was time for him to return to Konoha village. But this time he got big harvest. First, he fights against the powerful Jonin from Yukigakure, and he got experience from this fight. Later he learned the Shunpo from Mifune. Finally, he got his new sword, Millennium. Kakashi is very satisfied with this harvest. He also needs to sort out what he has learned in this week. He now has complete understanding of the 4 symbols seal. With this, the problem of Sharinon can be solved. However, Kakashi intends find an unsealing method after the implementation of the seal Sharinon, otherwise, he can't use a Sharinon during a fight. After all, a large part of Kakashi's strength now depends on Sharinon, not to mention that Sharinon is a strong dojutsu. He is able to copy almost every jutsu. This is very useful as he fight against unknown enemy. In this way, Kakashi is not in a hurry. His sword skill has reached a bottleneck, but there is already ways to break through as he need to increase his understanding of the sword. With his long sword, Kakashi is now being able to use for his Heitake clan sword technique. 3 days later, Kakashi finally returned to Konoha village. Hokage office. Fiendapt head ovals on n/v/elbin.co/m. Sandaime-sama, the mission of the Land of Snow has been completed. Kakashi said. The mission summary is written on the scroll that was handed over to Sandaime Hokage. Sandaime Hokage took and looked at it and said, well done Kakashi, this mission is completed. You should go to rest first, and I will give you a new mission in a week. Yes, Sandaime-sama. Kakashi said as he left. Kakashi, he is really doing a good job at this mission, and he feels like a different person. Without the sense of lifelessness from before, did he already out of darkness? Sandaime Hokage couldn't help but feel happy. What Sandaime doesn't know is that the current Kakashi is no longer the original Kakashi. Although he got the original memory, he still becomes another person. Kakashi returned home, removed his equipment and lay on the bed. After getting back, even Kakashi is feeling tired. The exhaustion has made Kakashi sleep. When he wake up again, it is already time for the moon to rise. Kakashi groaned with rumbling belly and climbed out of bed lazily. No one's in this house half a month, so naturally there will be no food. Kakashi changes his clothes and go out to find something eat. There was a big change after Kakashi left. It has been more than 20 days after the attack of kyuubi. Many houses in the village have been rebuilt. After all, there is shinobi, and their efficiency of doing things is much higher than normal person. Kakashi looked around to see which restaurant was open. Soon, Kakashi's gaze was attracted by a small shop. Ichiraku Ramen, the netizen from his previous life dubbed it as Konoha's best food. Kakashi's mask showed a smile underneath, and he didn't hesitate at the moment. Since he has reborn in this world, he needs to taste the ramen. Welcome. Wearing a white chef's suit, Tuka smiled and said hello. Now Tuka looks a lot younger, and Ayam is just a 7-year-old girl, who is standing behind his father. Hello, I want to order 1 miso soup ramen, Kakashi said. Okay, wait a moment, said Tuki. After he finishes cooking the ramen, Tuka put Kakashi's order in front of him. Kakashi was sitting on a chair. At this time, there was no other costumer in here. The mealtime had already passed, so it is empty now. Well, it's hot so you should eat it slowly, said Tuki. Thank you, then I should start. Kakashi said as he tastes the soup first, and it was delicious. It's delicious, Kakashi said. Haha, of course it is. This soup is a recipe that I have studied for a long time, and it tastes wonderful. This noodle is also made by my unique technique. It is very flexible. Tuka said as he was happy that someone praised his work. Tuka-san, you are really a great chef. Kakashi said with a sense of respect. This is not the conclusion of Kakashi because of this bowl of noodles. At the beginning of the plot, among the ordinary villagers, Tuki is the only one who had no intention of abandoning Naruto, and Naruto was often given ramen for free. Kakashi appreciates his mentality who tries to help Naruto. Naruto likes to eat a ramen noodles. It is not only because this ramen is delicious, but more importantly, the thing Tuki has done to him make Naruto very touched. Haha, thanks for your compliment. I remember you seem to be the disciple of Yondaime-sama, right? Tuka suddenly thought of this. At the beginning, Minato had brought Kakashi and his team to eat ramen here, but unfortunately now that Minato and Rin are dead, Obito has also broke into the darkness, and now Kakashi is the only one left. Yeah, I really miss those days, Kakashi said with sad emotion. Realizing something was wrong, Tuka quickly apologized. Sorry, I mentioned your sadness. It's okay. This is really delicious. I should leave now. Thank you, Tuka-san. Kakashi finished the last bite in the bowl, put the money on the table, and turned away. Father, who is the big brother that's wearing a mask? Asked the Ayam curiously. Haha, Ayam, that big brother is just a poor little man, Tuka said as he picked Ayam up. Chapter 13. Inside his house, Kakashi sits on the ground. All around him there is strange symbol. If seal masters look at this they would know that is the 4 symbol seal. Kakashi closed his eyes and start doing the preparation to use the seals. Kakashi suddenly opened the both of his eyes, a normal eye, and a Sharingan. After looking around, Kakashi muttered, the preparations are all done, now it's time to seal the Sharingan. Obito, I am sorry for doing this. Then he makes hand seals and softly said, 4 symbol seal. In an instant, a strange symbol move and suppress Kakashi's Sharingan. Kakashi can feel the chakra that is originally injected into Sharingan, is rapidly withdrawing, and little by little coming back to his body. Double, triple, 4 times, until Sharingan was completely suppressed by the 4 symbol seal and completely sealed. Kakashi felt that his spirit was kind of refreshed, and the sense of oppression in his mind disappeared completely. The seal is complete. Kakashi feels really good, and once he feels chakra within the body, Kakashi is ecstatic. His chakra has actually increased by 10 times. For a moment, Kakashi felt that his body was full of the strength, and this feeling has made Kakashi almost lost himself in a moment. Is this the feeling of chakra? Is this the amount of chakra I should have? Sure enough, it is worthy of the called a genius. This is his actual chakra reserve. After feeling this he feels that he won't have a problem even if he uses Chidori for 20 times. Kakashi at this point understand how much the Sharingan consumes its own chakra. Sharingan takes too much of his spirit energy. If the Uchiha clan spends some chakra to use it, then Kakashi need 10 times the chakra to use Sharingan. This gap is simply terrifying. What is more terrifying is the fact that Kakashi's Sharingan can't be closed, which has caused his to be consumed without stopping. The original Kakashi tries to cover his Sharingan with his headband. Even if he covers it, the chakra consumption is only decreased by a small amount. At this point after Kakashi completely sealed his Sharingan, he feels that his chakra reserve has grown to such an extent. This amount of chakra reserve, even it doesn't reach cage level, it almost got to there. If my chakra reserve can continue to grow, I will also be able to train in Senjutsu. Kakashi thought as he smiles happily. The basic condition of Senjutsu practice is to have huge chakra reserve, and this is precisely the shortcoming of original Kakashi. But now that his Sharingan has been sealed, his chakra which was originally used to support Sharingan was now completely liberated and Kakashi chakra reserve was also released increased by a huge amount. And right now, Kakashi is only 14 years old, his chakra reserve will continue to grow, and it is growing rapidly. Kakashi has clenched his fist and couldn't help but smiles when thinking about the future. Touching the already sealed Sharingan, Kakashi pulled down his headband to cover it. One of the reasons is to hide the fact that he sealed his Sharingan. Another reason is because his sealed Sharingan can't see anything, so it's useless for now. Although his Sharingan has been sealed, it does not mean that Kakashi gave up on Sharingan. Sharingan is important, especially the Kamui skill from his Mangekyo Sharingan, which involves space ninjutsu. It is a very powerful skill so Kakashi can't give up on it. It's just that now, Sharingan is going to give more harm than good for Kakashi. Kakashi is also thinking about how to reduce the consumption of Sharingan to the point where it can be used normally, but he got no clue about it. It is to say that in consumption of Sharingan, the original Kakashi has not been able to significantly improve it even in 17 years, so obviously, he needs to do something. Therefore, Kakashi can only think of other methods. At present, there is no way, but that does not mean that there is no way in the future. Kakashi believes that everything has a solution, it is just that he has not found it. In fact, it can't be said that there is no such thing. At least Hashirama's cell is a way to fix that, but Kakashi refused to do that kind of thing, and if he is discovered, Konoha won't stay put about that, so Kakashi need to find another way. After temporarily putting this kind of thought aside, Kakashi was in a good mood because he success sealing his Sharingan. He takes out his Millennium Sword on the bed, and get out and start practicing his sword skill in the courtyard. Right now Kakashi can feel his body strength getting stronger than before, which is caused by the surge of chakra. Now he seems to be able to open the mountains and rivers with each stroke of his sword. Kakashi knows that this is just an illusion because of his increasing strength, and he knows that he has not reached that kind of level. Then he is slashing over and over again, the sweat start to drop from Kakashi's face. After a few hundred times, Kakashi finally stopped and sighed. His body now still hasn't feels tired. Is it because there is no Sharingan? Is this the true power of Kakashi, the son of White Fang? His Millennium Sword in his right hand exudes a dazzling thunder light, and Kakashi said softly, Chidori. The Millennium Sword was instantly covered by the formidable lighting chakra, and the original 1-meter blade became more than 5 meters, at the same time it's mixed with the sound of Chidori. Kakashi was indifferent to this, and then he quietly looked at the sword that turned into a long blade sword. Under the light of his sword, Kakashi's face looked mysterious. At this moment, he is not Sharingan Kakashi, he is Heitake Kakashi who belongs to the Heitake clan. After 15 minutes, the thunder on the Millennium Sword disappeared without a trace, and Kakashi was half squatting on the ground. The continued consumption of chakra made Kakashi unable to stand up, he almost faint because of chakra exhaustion. Even when he is half squatting on the ground, Kakashi has no sense of tiredness, but rather he feels excited. It is a kind of eagerness to try thing. From today, he is Heitake Kakashi. The strange ninjutsu, terrifying battle analysis instinct, abundant chakra, how can Kakashi become a weak person? Kakashi believes that in time, even if Uchiha Madara is reborn, he can fight and wins against him. Everything started tonight, a calm but extraordinary night. This new Kakashi took the first step different from original work. At the same time it is also the first step to change the fate of the world. All test novel on novelben/.cm. Chapter 14. At the underground Konoha village, there is a dark organization called the Root. Konoha bathes in the sun, while the Root struggle in the dark, and in this darkness, there is a man who controls this darkness. That person is Danzo. Danzo appeared as a frail, old man, who would normally walk with a cane. He had black, shaggy hair, and his right eye was bandaged. Danzo has had an X-shaped scar on his chin. He wore a white shirt, with a black or dark grey robe over the top of it covering from his feet, to just over his right shoulder. The robe conceals his right arm which was bandaged. Danzo stood next to several Root shinobi, and they all looked down while waiting Danzo's orders. Read latest chapters at n/v/e/lbi.co/m. After a long time, Danzo start to talk said, some of you should know that tomorrow Sandaime will go to Daimyo's place to make himself Hokage again. We need to assassinate him because the village is gradually getting weaker in his hand name. Yes, Danzo-sama. All of the shinobi then answered simultaneously. They seems like a group of puppets without thoughts. Even when they were told to assassinate the Hokage, they still calm. Hokage office. Kakashi is now facing Sandaime Hokage, Hiruzen Sarutobi. Kakashi, tomorrow I will go to Daimyo's place to reapply myself as Hokage so that I can handle Konoha's affairs. I hope you can lead some Umbu members to escort me. Kakashi, remembers something after hearing this and thought of something. Isn't this the time when Danzo tried to assassinate Sandaime? Why he doesn't try to recruit me like the original? Seeing Kakashi still silent, Sandaime can't help but ask, what happened Kakashi? Is there any problem? No, it's nothing Sandaime-sama. It's important for you have to retake the position of Hokage. But I am afraid that along the way you may be attacked. I think it's better for us to split. I will walk through normal way to Daimyo's place, while Sandaime-same will go through another way. With that, even when attacked, you won't be delayed in meeting the Daimyo. Kakashi thought of the plan. Otherwise, if something really happened to Sandaime, the plot would be completely messed up. Actually Kakashi does not believe that the few people who was sent out by Danzo can really kill Sandaime. After all Sandaime is still not as old as the start of the plot. Right now, he even can kill Orochimaru if he wanted to. How can this kind of small fry be able to kill Sandaime? But Kakashi didn't want to have any accidents. In the event that Danzo able to assassinate Sandaime, there would be a lot of problem. After listening to Kakashi, Sandaime feels that Kakashi's thinking is very reasonable. So he said, what you said did make sense. Let's do your plan then. Okay Sandaime-sama. I will go to arrange it then Kakashi said. Okay, good work. After Kakashi finished, he then left the Hokage office. Looking at Kakashi who's leaving, Sandaime showed a smile. Strange, why didn't Danzo come to find me? Kakashi felt a bit strange. According to original work, Danzo should be trying to find him. Why didn't he come now? What Kakashi didn't know was that originally Danzo did have this plan, but after watching Kakashi recently, Danzo gave up on this plan. Because Kakashi at this time is different from Kakashi in original work, he doesn't drop into the darkness. Danzo naturally does not want to find such Kakashi, which not only won't follow him, but also will expose his plan, so Kakashi was abandoned by Danzo. Kakashi didn't understand, and he was too lazy to think about it. Since Danzo didn't try to find him, he let it go. After all, he didn't want to deal with Danzo anyway. To say who is the most hated among Naruto's character, Danzo is basically the first on that list. In the name of Konoha, the damage caused by him to Konoha is quite a lot. What's more, many of the tragedies in Naruto world are caused by Danzo himself. Therefore, for such a person, Kakashi won't try to provoke him if he didn't try to provoke Kakashi first. The next day, Kakashi used Henge no Justo to become Sandaime. He is followed by Umbu along the way. It was very quiet along the way. Just when Kakashi thought that Danzo had given up to assassinate him, a group of shinobi wearing strange masks appeared. Then they attack the convoy, starting to fight against the Umbu who's escorting him. Kakashi saw this and quickly raised his vigilance. If he doesn't guess wrong, he would encounter Yamato next. Sure enough, a masked teenager shinobi suddenly appeared, looking straight into Kakashi who's now looking like sand aim. Making hand seals, the teenager shinobi then said, "Wood release, great forest technique." Kakashi pupils shrank. Sure enough, this boy is Yamato. Except for Yamato, there is no one who can use wood release in this world. Kakashi directly dismissed his transformation. Chidori instantly appeared in his hands and he destroys the wood that Yamato with it. After that he kicks Yamato at his abdomen. With Chidori still activated, Kakashi then asks, "Wood release? Who are you?" Although he knows that Yamato will not answer, Kakashi still has to ask this sentence in order not to reveal his knowledge. Seeing Yamato not answering, Kakashi stopped his Chidori and said, "I will let you go. One day, Konoha will need you." Unlike Kakashi's in original work, the new Kakashi really knows that Yamato will be very important to Konoha in the future. Yamato obviously stunned, but he immediately fled the scene. His instincts told him that this guy who is only 3 years older than him is very strong. He is Kakashi's opponent at all. At the Hokage office, Sandaime has returns, and he finally become Hokage again. Right now he is talking with Kakashi. Sandaime-sama, one of the assassin shinobi is using wood release, although the power is not strong, but it is indeed wood release. Kakashi said. Oh. Sandaime is also surprised. He didn't expect anyone else in this world to be able to use wood release. Okay Kakashi, thank you for your information. Sandaime then said. Yes Sandaime-sama. Kakashi, your eyes has changed. I am very pleased that you're able to get out of the darkness so quickly. I know that you will continue to work hard. Sandaime suddenly said. Kakashi apparently didn't expect for Sandaime to suddenly say it. Kakashi bowed his head and said, "Thank you very much for your care Sandaime-sama, I am fine now." Sandaime then said with a smile, "Well of course. Konoha still needs younger generation like you. In the future, this Konoha village needs to be supported by you." This statement of Sandaime makes Kakashi feels a heavy burden in his shoulder, but he also feels somewhat happy. Thank you for your praise Sandaime-sama. Chapter 15. Kakashi left the Hokage office. He doesn't know what to think about. Sandaime really value him. Kakashi was kind of surprised about this. But Kakashi doesn't want to think too much about it. For now, he needs to increase his strength. Today both Jiraiya and Orochimaru have returned to Konoha, and Orochimaru has not defected yet. But Kakashi remembers that Orochimaru's defection won't be long now. Jiraiya is a character that Kakashi in his previous life really appreciates. At the same time, he is also a very important character in Naruto franchise. When Jiraiya died, the whole Naruto fans' circles were very sad, showing how terrifying his popularity is. Therefore, whether it is the relationship between the original Kakashi and Jiraiya, or the appreciation of Jiraiya from his previous life, Kakashi intends to meet him. After thinking about this, Kakashi then start walking to Jiraiya's house. He then arrives in front of Jiraiya's home. Although Jiraiya has not been in Konoha for a long time since the end of the Third World War, no one tries to take his home. After all, he's a legendary Sannin. Jiraiya came back this time because of the death of Minato. He came back now to mourn Minato. Jiraiya's mood at this time is definitely not good. After all, Minato is his favorite pupil. He must feel some kind of blow after his death. When Jiraiya sat by the window and was flipping through some strange magazines. "Jiraiya-sama." Kakashi shouted at the Sannin. Jiraiya looked to see him and said, "Hey, it's Kakashi. Why did you come to find me today? I remember that you are an Umbu. There should be a lot of missions. I just finished my mission, so right now I'm resting." "Oh, is there anything you need me for? Is there anything you to ask to this sage?" Jiraiya said while laughing heartily. "Jiraiya-sama, it's about Minato-sensei. I want to ask something." Without paying attention to Jiraiya's tricks, Kakashi directly asked her questions. When I heard Minato's name, Jiraiya was obviously more serious. She put down the bad magazine in her hand and looked at Kakashi and said, "Minato, what do you want to ask?" Jiraiya-sama, Minato-sensei was desperate trying to protect Konoha, but now his child's experience has become like this. Do you think Minato is happy about this? Jiraiya's eyes then looked straightly at Kakashi. Kakashi felt his body cold for a moment, and his whole body's tense. At this moment, Kakashi almost wanted to pull his sword to resist. But after just a moment, this feeling disappeared. Jiraiya changes his expression and said, "Kakashi, Minato sacrificed himself for the village. He was hero, and the village should have treated his son as hero's son. But there is no way because Naruto, he has kyuubi inside him. Minato should have known about this when he makes Naruto as Jinchuriki. But do you know why he still chooses Naruto as Jinchuriki? Is it because of Uzumaki's bloodline? That is only part of the reason. Minato trusts his children and feels that Naruto will definitely finish what he didn't do in the future, and kyuubi is something that Minato gives to help Naruto complete it. It's also a test from Minato to his son. A test." Kakashi had some doubts. Yes, only when shinobi has experienced the darkness of the world can save everyone from the darkness of this world. But this is too much for Naruto, and is the teacher Minato not afraid of Naruto getting into the dark side? Kakashi, you don't understand. Minato believes in Naruto, because Naruto is his child. Just because of that belief? Why did he need to do that to his own son? I don't know if it is fortune or misfortune for Naruto, Kakashi said with a bitter smile. Although Kakashi knows the fate of Naruto, it is still unbearable to see what Naruto has to experience. Haha, rest assured, there is still Sandaime here, and Naruto will not go into the dark side. Jiraiya laughed heartily. I hope so. Kakashi knows that although Naruto is now just born, he has already started getting some bad experience. Kakashi knows that even the nurses who raise Naruto are not good at him, and some villagers hate him. If it weren't for the Umbu protection sent by Sandaime, he's afraid that Naruto has already been killed by someone unknown. Kakashi, you look a little different from before, Jiraiya said suddenly. Kakashi is shocked. He doesn't understand why Jiraiya suddenly talked about this. Is it because his own changes are so obvious? Whether it is Sandaime, Guy or Jiraiya, they said that he has changed. In the past, you wouldn't ask this kind of question. The biggest possibility is that you start to change. Now you are already starts to care about others. You have begun to walk out from the darkness in your heart, Jiraiya said with a smile. Kakashi is silent. After all, he is not the real Kakashi. Although he inherited all of original Kakashi's memory and skill, he is still not Kakashi. Therefore, Kakashi's so-called darkness has disappeared after the fusion of his and original Kakashi's souls. Perhaps because of this, even if he inherited everything from original Kakashi, some people still can see his change. Now you are looking more and more like Sakumo. And the sword behind you, it seems that you have picked up the skill of Sakumo's sword. Jiraiya saw the Millennium Sword at Kakashi's back. After seeing Kakashi looks like his father, he couldn't help but have a little nostalgia. Yes, I will make father's sword well known again in this world. Kakashi nodded. Okay, very good, I will be waiting for that day. I am very pleased to see you like this. Okay, looking at you today, I will teach you a ninjutsu. Jiraiya is changing his topic, causing Kakashi somewhat stunned at the moment. Ninjutsu. Kakashi stunned. Why did Jiraiya said this now? Yes, I see that your ninjutsu is mostly attack-based and lacks defense. The ninjutsu I taught you this time is called a hair needle. With this you can defend yourself with your hair. It is very practical ninjutsu, I believe you find it useful. Thank you very much then Jiraiya-sama. Kakashi then said while accepting this. After all right now Kakashi is really lacking this kind of ninjutsu. No, you are Minato's disciple, it can be said you are my grand disciple. It is only right for me to teach you something. Jiraiya said with a smile. Chapter 16. After coming out of Jiraiya's home, Kakashi returned to his home. He didn't expect that from this trip, he got a ninjutsu, and it was a very practical defense ninjutsu. Kakashi is somewhat unprepared for Jiraiya's generosity, but for Kakashi, this is a good sign. In this case, if he wants to learn senjutsu from Jiraiya in the future, maybe Jiraiya will agree, so that he can save a lot of trouble from this. But for now, Kakashi will temporarily put aside senjutsu, because right now, his chakra reserve is a problem. Even if it is free from the limitations of Sharingan, Kakashi's chakra reserve still does not meet the criteria to practice senjutsu. According to Kakashi's judgment, the requirement to learn senjutsu is at least needs his chakra reserve to be above cage level, and the current Kakashi is still below cage level. Putting senjutsu aside, Kakashi took out the scroll about seals from Kushina. Regarding the seal, Kakashi is still not able to fully grasp it, and he needs to understand the content little by little. He must slowly learn about it. Kakashi's purpose is to completely master the seal, and so that he's able to control the Sharingan perfectly. So when he use or stop using the Sharingan, it will be sealed again, so that he can use it like Uchiha clan's member. However for this thing, he requires a very good control of the chakra, and he also need an absolute mastery of the seal. No matter which is it, this is not a problem that can be completed in a short time. But the other thing that made Kakashi on the guard is the defection of Orochimaru. Right now, he thought that it won't be long before Orochimaru is caught doing experiment. At this time, Sandaime is already having suspicion about Orochimaru. After Orochimaru defected, Jiraiya will also leave, Konoha will enter its dark time. And when the Uchiha clan massacres happen, Konoha will be at its lowest point ever. In other words, Konoha is really terrifying. Even when it is the lowest point, their strength is still the same as other great shinobi villages. If its strength is not this much, the other village must have attacked Konoha. For Orochimaru, Kakashi thinks that he is not that bad. Kakashi thought that Orochimaru is a scientist. But he is kind of crazy. It is just that Orochimaru's scientific experiment is touching the bottom line of Konoha's morality. So naturally it is impossible to survive in Konoha's light, but it is very suitable for the route. Unfortunately, Danzo won't help Orochimaru as he is Sandaime's disciple. Even if Orochimaru and Sandaime's relationship is kind of bad right now, they are still master and disciple. Therefore, Orochimaru must leave Konoha, because he doesn't get help from Danzo. Orochimaru also doesn't want to continue staying in Konoha, because the world is big, and when he is at Konoha, he will have a lot of restrictions. He can go anywhere he wants, he doesn't want to stay at Konoha. The source of this content n/o/v/l/n. If there is anything that can bound him at Konoha, it's probably just his relationship with Sandaime, Jiraiya, and Tsunade. But how can someone like Orochimaru bounded by this kind of thing? Therefore, in Kakashi's view, the defection is only a matter of time now. After getting home, Kakashi silently looked at scroll in his room. Kakashi didn't even think about trying to kill Orochimaru. After all, in the Naruto's world, there is no one harder to kill than Orochimaru. Kakashi has no interest in fighting against such people, not to mention that right now, Kakashi is still not an opponent of Orochimaru. However, Kakashi's idea is not the same as reality. The next night, Kakashi received emergency call from Sandaime. Outside the Hokage office, a large number of Umbu shinobi waited here, and Kakashi was no exception. At this time, Kakashi wore his Umbu clothes with a dog mask that looked very strange. Sandaime wearing the Hokage robe came out and said, "Everyone, Orochimaru has defected to Konoha and is now officially listed as a S-rank rebel. Your mission is to bringing Orochimaru back? Orochimaru holds many of Konoha's secrets. If he successfully escape, there will be a very serious loss for Konoha. Do you understand?" When they heard that Orochimaru defected, Umbu's shinobi was really surprised. He is one of Konoha's pillar. They didn't expect to him defect. But everyone didn't think too much about it. After all, they are shinobi. And shinobi must execute their mission. All Umbu then says, "Yes, Sandaime-sama." After that, all Umbu disappeared from this place, trying to chase Orochimaru. Kakashi keeps jumping in the woods, but there is something troubling him. Sandaime let these Umbu to go after Orochimaru, but it looks like he is sending cannon fodder. Sandaime should have known about Orochimaru's strength. In the entire Konoha, the one is who is qualified to fight against Orochimaru are just Danzo, Sandaime, Jiraiya, and Tsunade. Danzo and Sandaime did not try to chase him. And right now Tsunade was outside of the village. Only Jiraiya would chase Orochimaru. But knowing Jiraiya's personality, he's definitely not going to use his full power when dealing with Orochimaru, just like Naruto versus Sasuke. Without using his full power, how could Jiraiya become Orochimaru's opponents? At this time, Sandaime seems to send Umbu to pursue Orochimaru, but in fact it is just the looks like he wants to catch Orochimaru. Otherwise, when in the laboratory, Sandaime can just kills Orochimaru easily. Kakashi then start trying to slack off so he won't find Orochimaru. Kakashi-senpai. At this time, someone call him from behind. Kakashi looked back and see purple hair, with a mask. It was one of Umbu's members. Yujao? What happened? Kakashi-senpai, I heard that Orochimaru-sama has defected, so I came along and tried to pursue him. You. Kakashi looked up and down at Yujao. He did not expect this little girl to have such enthusiasm. Kakashi-senpai, you shouldn't look down on me, after all I am very powerful. Hearing Kakashi's tone, Ozuki Yujao thought that Kakashi was looking down on her and she was not happy at that. Okay, I understand. Let's go together then. Kakashi said without thinking. Okay, Kakashi-senpai. Yujao couldn't help but feeling happy after hearing this. Now she can perform mission Tagator with the famous Kakashi of the Sharingan. She knows that right now she can get some experience from him. Kakashi didn't speak and accelerated instantly. Since someone followed him, his idea to slack off can't be done. Otherwise, it will be difficult to explain to Sandaime. Please wait, Kakashi-senpai, said Yujao as she also accelerates, trying to keep up with Kakashi's speed. Chapter 17. Kakashi-senpai, do you know where Orochimaru is right now? Yujao asked curiously. Kakashi shook his head and said, I don't know, I can only go in this direction, and with our strength, there is no way we can deal with Orochimaru. If we encounter him, we can just hope for the best. Seeing that Kakashi is not motivated, Yujao feels somewhat boring. But thinking about Orochimaru, he knows that Kakashi is right. However, Uzuki Yujao is also a genius. Although the reputation of Orochimaru's strength is great, she feels that her strength is not that much worse than him. The newborn calf is not afraid of the tiger, so she will dare to rush out at this time. Kakashi-senpai, although Orochimaru is famous, but you're not bad yourself. Even if your strength can't is not as strong as him, I believe the gap is not that great. Kakashi looked at Yujao and smiled with surprise, not knowing where she had such great confidence in him. Yujao, you really overestimate me, Kakashi said with a bitter smile. With Kakashi's strength right now, he still doesn't have half of Orochimaru's strength. How could he is compared to Orochimaru? No, Kakashi-senpai, I believe you can win against him. Yujao seems to have some very terrifying confidence in Kakashi. Looking at this, Kakashi feels somewhat shameful. Suddenly, Kakashi feels something wrong. He stopped and said, stop. Yujao was confused but she still listened to him. What's wrong, Kakashi-senpai? Yujao asked curiously. Kakashi smiled and said, I think we should be prepared to escape anytime now. Huh. Kakashi didn't try to answer the question of Yujao. Then someone came out of the grass in front of him. The one who's coming out is Orochimaru, the one they tried to find? Oh, there are two little kids here. Orochimaru showed a smile, like a snake that's looking at his prey. His aura feels gloomy and cold. Yujao then start getting ready and unsheathed her sword at Orochimaru. The one in front of her is one of the legendary Sannin. He is called the genius of his generation. After meeting him, Yujao finally feels the gap between their powers. Orochimaru didn't seem to be going to kill the two shinobi in front of him, but he looked the two of them playfully. But still, his golden eyes exclude scary aura. Kakashi and Yujao can feel cold sweat at their back. This is killing intent. Kakashi is getting tense, and his chakra from within body explodes in a flash. Kakashi feels the killing intent removed and he can now move his body normally. Oh, you actually broke free? Interesting. Orochimaru was obviously a little surprised, probably didn't think that this little devil could break through from his killing intent. Orochimaru. Kakashi panted and stared at Orochimaru. Silver white hair, it seems that you are Kakashi, but I did not expect that Sakumo-san is already this big. Haha, it's really interesting. Let's see how much of thing you have learned from your father. Orochimaru said as he feeling the eagerness to test Kakashi's strength. For some time, the imposing manner on Orochimaru was really great. Kakashi feels that he is not facing a person, but a fierce snake. He seems to be the prey of this snake, and he will be swallowed into his belly at any time if he's not careful. Kakashi unsheathed his Millennium Sword with his right hand and held it in front of him. The only remaining right eye was now looking at Orochimaru. As for Yujao, she has been stunned and unable to move. Kakashi doesn't have time to take care of her. Furthermore, Orochimaru is now more interested in Kakashi and he won't touch Yujao. Not bad, your stance of holding the sword is very good. Orochimaru seems to be getting more and more excited, and looking at Kakashi with eyes full of expectation. Kakashi clenched the millennium in his hand, and his chakras start to move rapidly inside his body. Kakashi knew that he only got one chance to try to attack Orochimaru. He got no second chance at all. This is the only chance Orochimaru give Kakashi show his sword skill. Right now, Kakashi's life is in the hand of Orochimaru. He can't make any mistake. His chakras start to condense in his right palm, and there is sound of thunder from the millennium, and there is also arc of blue aura that start to pulsate on the sword. Is this? Orochimaru has some doubts, but he starts looking amazed, as if this is an incredible move that shouldn't have appeared again in this world. Thunder dance. Kakashi is lightly said as the millennium sword that is in his hand moving like a thunder dragon in an instant, wrapped in thousands of lightnings, and it seems to be really imposing. Seeing the scene in front of him, Orochimaru's eyes are excluding scary light, and he feels more excited. And Yujao is completely shocked by this scene. Is this Kakashi-senpai's strength? Is this Kakashi-senpai's most powerful move? What happened to his sword? The aura that came from Kakashi's sword make Yujao feel scared. Too dangerous? This is the only feeling in Yujao's heart. She can clearly perceive that if she is attacked by this move, she won't be able to fight back or dodge at all. She will dead at the instant this move is used. Without paying attention to the complex emotions of these two people, Kakashi is moving his body like a shadow. The man and the sword seem to be integrated, and with the formidable thunder, Kakashi waved the millennium sword in his hand. Thunder dance? It is one of the secret art in the Heitake clan sword technique. It requires the chakra and his sword skill to be powerful enough, and then he injects lighting attribute chakra into the long sword, and with the movement of the sword, the thunder dragon start to move into Orochimaru's location. Facing this sword skill, Orochimaru did not choose to hide, but chose a frontal confrontation. La test novelles on, n, fell by /co. If they look closely, they will find that even Orochimaru's golden pupil looks cold. It seems to reveal a sense of excitement. Orochimaru feels that his cool blood start to boil at this moment. This feeling, it's strange. Why is he getting this kind of feeling? When he's with Sakumo, he already sees this technique countless of time. This is the technique Sakumo uses to kill countless strong enemies? That sword, that figure, he can't help but some remember it after seeing this scene. But even when remembering his memory, the terrifying instinct that was trained on the battlefield allowed Orochimaru to respond without trouble. Kakashi sees Orochimaru biting the left hand, and start making hand seals and said, summoning, triple Rashomon. In an instant, the three metal gates that looks like it came from hell appear in front of Kakashi. Kakashi pupils shrank, then he secretly thought, I didn't expect Orochimaru to use this skill. Chapter 18. Triple Rashomon, the defensive power of each door is stronger than the previous one, and Kakashi's thunder dance can't completely destroy it. With a loud bang, the first Rashomon destroyed easily, instantly dissipated after getting destroyed, but the second Rashomon is like a strong guard. Blue's chakra arc continually moves as the second Rashomon is still trying to defense against it by counteracts the power of the thunder dance. Kakashi still not able to destroy it and start to pant. Ha, ha. It was blocked. Kakashi whispered. Kakashi's thunder dance is still at the basic, but even if it is still in its basic form, the power of this skill is already stronger than Chidori he usually uses, and it is also Kakashi's most powerful skill right now. Kakashi didn't try to play around and just use this skill directly because he hoped that this skill will shock Orochimaru and able to hurt him, so that the two of them have the opportunity to escape, but he did not expect that even when he moved fast, Orochimaru still can react to resist it. The triple Rashomon is one of the strongest defense ninjutsu. The strongest version of it is the quintuple Rashomon. Only the original Hokage, Senju Hashirama has used it, and the defensive power of this ninjutsu is absolutely outstanding. This ninjutsu is defense-type ninjutsu in Naruto's world. It is specifically designed to defend against a wide-range ninjutsu attack. Kakashi suspects that Orochimaru should have received this skill from the Scroll of Seals, because both Edo Tensei and Rashomon are ninjutsu from the Scroll of Seals. Orochimaru is the disciple of Sandaime Hokage. It is not surprising that he can get the Scroll of Seals. At this time, Kakashi also became curious about the Scroll of Seals. A scroll that record thousands of techniques that is sealed by the first Hokage because of the dangerous techniques it contains. The ninjutsu inside the scroll is not the ninjutsu that Kakashi can copy through Sharingan. The power of those techniques is formidable. But Kakashi stopped that thought because the most important thing at the moment is Orochimaru in front of him. If he is not serious, he's afraid that he will be killed by Orochimaru. His new life is just beginning, so Kakashi doesn't want it to end so soon. Orochimaru's figure came out from behind the Rashomon and looked at the second Rashomon, which was almost broken by Kakashi. He then said a smile, "It's a good power, although it's not even 10% of Sakumo's. But it's already good." Orochimaru evaluates it plainly, as if he were pointing a junior. But the killing intent from his body has not only decreased, but has become more intense. It's a really interesting little thing, haha, I am looking forward to your future. Originally I thought that you will be ruined by that cumbersome Sharingan, but now it seems that you walk on another path. Haha, very good. Orochimaru excitedly looks at Kakashi, as if he found a new toy. Kakashi's heart trembled. Orochimaru looks like he want to dispose of him. Kakashi clenched the millennium in his hand. Although he was nervous, he didn't feel scared. He even feels a little excited. This is Orochimaru, a cage levels expert. It is not every day that he can fight against such character. At first, he didn't want to fight against Orochimaru because of the fear, but now Kakashi didn't have even half of the fear in his heart. Kakashi had a feeling that he even be able to get stronger while fighting against him. Seeing the fighting intent in Kakashi's eyes, Orochimaru was a little surprised. He didn't expect this brat to have such a fighting intent at this time. It's really rare. Haha, good eyes, I hope you can give me even more surprises. Hidden Shadow Snake Hands. Full 0W current novels on n/o/v/3l/b in.co/m. Orochimaru said as several long snakes were shot from his right hand. The snakes look different from normal snake. It's Orochimaru's unique snake ninjutsu, even if it seems to be disgusting, but it has strong power. Kakashi is not afraid of that ninjutsu and used Thunder Sword to cut the long snake that is on the way into 2 sections. But this is just the beginning? Wind release, great breakthrough. A gust of wind spurted out of Orochimaru's mouth, like a strong hurricane, and the destructive power of this wind is amazing. All the trees around were blown by this wind. Its power is very strong. Kakashi was almost blown by the wind and couldn't open his eyes. No, this way, he can't even see his opponent's movement. It seems that he still needs to use Sharingan. Sharingan, activate. The seal then start moving out and the scarlet Sharingan instantly appeared on Kakashi's face, and his originally blurred vision became clear at this moment. The black 3-tomo keeps turning, it looks strange and charming. Oh, are you still using Sharingan? But as an outsider, I am afraid it is just a burden for you. Orochimaru said disdainfully. It seems that he has some disdain for Kekii Genkai, and there seems that there is some kind of pity in his tone. Kakashi think too much about what Orochimaru said. Kakashi closed his right eye and used only the left eye's Sharingan to look at Orochimaru. Feeling that his chakra is continuously consumed, Kakashi does not hesitate. At this speed, it will only take 10 minutes for him to exhaust his chakra. Shunpo activate. Shunpo, who he had been practicing for a long time, was fully used at this moment. He appeared at the side of Orochimaru in an instant. The speed was so fast that Orochimaru can't react at all. Millennial slash, bloom of blood flower. Orochimaru's expression starts to change. His right hand touches his left hand. He feels blood dropping from his left hand and there is a deep wound there. Orochimaru is injured. But Kakashi doesn't feel happy at all, even he manages to injure Orochimaru. Because the killing intent in Orochimaru's eyes is becoming even stronger now that he can even feel it touch his skin. Shunpo, I didn't expect you to learn the skill of Sakumo. Haha, you really gave me a lot of surprises. Orochimaru seems to be laughing, but it gives Kakashi a cold feeling. At the back, Yujao now is feeling incredibly shocked. Kakashi-senpai actually manages to injure Orochimaru? After seeing Orochimaru, there was only one thought in Yujao's mind and that was to run away. But Kakashi was able to slash Orochimaru? Yujao then suddenly felt that Kakashi's silent back was giving sense of reliability. Looking at his bloodied left arm, Orochimaru's face is now frowning. How long has been since he is injured like this? Orochimaru has forgotten. He did not expect to be injured by a younger generation today. An emotion called anger start to occupy Orochimaru's mind. Now he understands that he need to never underestimate his opponent. In his golden pupil, his full killing intent start to be unleashes. Chapter 19. Pressure starts to emanate from Orochimaru's body. Kakashi's forehead dripped with cold sweat, and he was unable to move his body. Orochimaru's fist appeared in front of Kakashi's face and after getting hit, Kakashi's body starts to launch. It's very fast. Orochimaru shows the level that Sunin should have at this moment. He shows that even in Taijutsu, he is stronger than Kakashi. Kakashi was launched 10 meters away, but it didn't end with just that. Orochimaru start making hand seals and said, Snake Charmer Technique. A smoke then spread out from Orochimaru and a few giant snakes appeared all around Kakashi's. Kakashi knows that he can't escape from this. He could only look at the big snakes that start to move near him. Orochimaru sneered and then said, Explosion. Kakashi's pupil shrank. He saw the giant snake's chakra start to burn rapidly. They are going to explode. Boom. A huge explosion starts near Kakashi's figure. Kakashi-senpai. Yujao desperately screamed after seeing this. Orochimaru ignored Yujao. His golden pupils look at the dust from the explosion. He still feels Kakashi's breath there. The smoke scattered, and silver hair was wrapped around Kakashi's body completely. Seeing the sight in front of him, Orochimaru could not help but shout a name. Jiraiya. Orochimaru, as a teammate of Jiraiya for many years, is naturally familiar with this technique. After get to learn this ninjutsu from Jiraiya, Kakashi start to train in this skill. He didn't expect the power of this technique is very good. The terrifying power of the explosion did not affect Kakashi. The silver hair faded, revealing Kakashi who's still fine. I didn't expect Jiraiya to teach you this technique. Kakashi looked up and looked at Orochimaru standing in front of him. It is good, but unfortunately, it's still not original. Orochimaru's tone is full of regrets, and there is a hint of mockery. A samurai sword tries to cut the back of Orochimaru, but Orochimaru did not even look at it as a snake directly wrapped the owner of the samurai sword. This person is not someone else. It is Yujao. Right now, she's finally able to move. It is a pity that this sudden slash is not able to injure Orochimaru. The snake start to wrap Yujao and it come to Orochimaru. Orochimaru coldly looked at Yujao and said impatiently, I am not interested in you. You should just stay silent and don't move. Yujao didn't expect that Orochimaru to see through her attack. In the next second, she would probably die in the hands of Orochimaru. But at that time Kakashi start to move. Kakashi's right hand starts to slash his Millennium Sword at Orochimaru. Do you really think this kind of attack is able to defeat me? Orochimaru stopped the sword, but the next second Orochimaru is surprised. The Millennium Sword that Kakashi held turned into the real Kakashi. A blue thunder appeared in Kakashi's hands as he uses Chidori at this time. Stab. The Scarlet Sharingan stared at Orochimaru, and the Chidori stab right into Orochimaru's chest. No, something's wrong? Kakashi took back his hand and he take his sword and cut off the big snake that was wrapped around Yujao. He then take her back and move from there. The Orochimaru, which was hit by Chidori, is now changed to become soil. Earth style? Earth substitute? At the last moment, Orochimaru used substitution technique into soil and make Kakashi failed his attack. Just now, after Kakashi used the hair needle technique to protect himself, Kakashi used the shadow clone and transform himself to become the Millennium Sword. After that, his clone held him like a sword. It is his entire plan to try to attack Orochimaru with a surprise attack. The plan is successful, but Orochimaru is able to respond it because of his terrifying instinct. He is able to avoid Kakashi's attack. On top of a big tree, Orochimaru's figure reappeared, and Kakashi turned and looked at Orochimaru. Looks like I still underestimate you. I have to say that you really are son of Sakumo. Your battle sense and planning is really terrifying. Even after hearing Orochimaru's praise, Kakashi did not feel happy at all. He has gone all out just now, but Orochimaru has no damage except for the wound on his left arm. This powerless feeling makes Kakashi feel really helpless. Touching his left eye, Kakashi knows that there is still a hidden ninjutsu in this eye, but right now, Kakashi is still unable to use it. His soul merge is still not completed yet. So now his spiritual energy is still not enough to use the Mangekyo Sharingan. Even if he's able to use it, it will take a lot of time, and Orochimaru won't be silent at that time. Orochimaru won't give him so much time to prepare. If it was at a usual time it will be possible, but now Orochimaru is defecting. Obviously he will not waste time doing this kind of thing. Well, looks like I'm out of time. I'm really happy to fight you. Obviously now I will send you to see Sakumo. Orochimaru coldly smiled as he said plainly. Kakashi holds the faint Yujao in his left hand, holding the Millennium in his right hand. Now he start to feels that chakra within the body is about to be exhausted. Kakashi smiled while he thought, it looks like the end of my life. It's really crazy to try to fight against a legend. Hidden Shadow Snake Hands. Orochimaru's offense came again, but Kakashi had no spare time to resist against it. Damn, am I really going to die this time? Fire release, flame bullet. A hot flame sprang from the back of Kakashi, burning Orochimaru's snakes directly. The remaining flame moved towards Orochimaru. Orochimaru's golden pupils shrank, as he start making hand seals. Earth release, earth-style wall. The rapidly rising earth successfully blocked the flame. Visit novelbin.cm for updates. Kakashi turned back and see someone appeared. Kakashi looked happy and knew that he is safe now. Jiraiya-sama. Kakashi said respectfully. Yeah, Jiraiya answered. With an unprecedented seriousness on his face, his eyes are not looking at Kakashi but looking at Orochimaru. Jiraiya, looks like you have come. Orochimaru says calmly. It seems that Orochimaru is not surprised by the arrival of Jiraiya. Yeah, of course I'm coming here. My teammate has defected. How can I not come? Orochimaru, why? Why do you defect? Even if you have some problem with sensei, you shouldn't have defect. Jiraiya says with a very angry tone. He is now really different from his usual self. Chapter 20. Haha, Jiraiya, how can you understand my ideals? What I want is to I grasp the truth of this world. How could I be bound by in this village? Orochimaru, have you forgotten your bond with Tsunade, sensei, and me? Jiraiya was so sad that he couldn't accept the fact that his best friend is now an enemy. Jiraiya even has tears dripped from his eyes. This is the man who wouldn't even cry if he was hurt. But at this moment, he could not control his emotions. Orochimaru who see this coldly snort, and his gaze changes slightly, but it was changed back in an instant. Jiraiya, you fool. You don't understand anything about me at all. Orochimaru's words are like a steel knife, stabbing into Jiraiya's heart, even after decades of friendship. He said such thing that makes Jiraiya feels bitter. No matter what you say, this time, no matter what method I need to use, I will bring you back. Jiraiya yelled. Just by yourself. Orochimaru's tone is filled with disdain, but he still knows that he shouldn't underestimate him. He has been together with Jiraiya for a long time. Orochimaru is naturally aware of Jiraiya's strength. Even someone genius like Orochimaru has to admit that the gap between their strength not that big. If they fight seriously, Orochimaru won't know who will be the winner. Kakashi, you should leave with Yujao. I will now fight against Orochimaru. I'm afraid I won't be to take care of you too. Jiraiya did not turn, and told him directly. But, Jiraiya-sama. Kakashi still hasn't finished his word, and he was directly interrupted by Jiraiya. Don't talk nonsense, hurry. Jiraiya yelled. Okay, please be careful Jiraiya-sama. Kakashi said that as he lifts the still faint Yujao and retreat from there. Orochimaru looked at Kakashi but he didn't intercept him. He is just looking at Kakashi. Orochimaru originally didn't want to kill Kakashi. It was because of his consideration with Konoha village and also because his friendship with Sakumo. It is the reason why he didn't stop him while he tries to retreat. Looking at Kakashi that finally able to leave, Jiraiya finally relax. Orochimaru gave a chuckle and said, Jiraiya, Kakashi is really like Sakumo, whether it is his look or his personality, they really alike. Jiraiya doesn't understand why Orochimaru suddenly said this, but he still habitually answered, that's right, Kakashi is very similar to Sakumo. Well, the inconvenience has finally left, now there is only us now, shall we start Jiraiya? Orochimaru said as he revealed a smirk. Then let's start. Jiraiya said, but there is still uncertainty in his tone. Haha, you really are a fool. After a while, there is a collision occurred in the air. The collision between the two cage-level experts finally begins. Kakashi left the battlefield while carrying Yujao behind his back. But Kakashi is still worried about Jiraiya. Pulling down his headband, Kakashi starts to cover his Sharingan again. Kakashi finds a place to put down Yujao and then he rests for a while. There are loud sounds coming from the direction of the battlefield. The battle between cage-level experts was naturally sounds loud. Kakashi sighed, with Jiraiya's strength, if he want to defeat Orochimaru, it is almost impossible except he start using his Sage mode. So Kakashi knows that Jiraiya will lose this battle. After all, their strength gap is small. With Jiraiya still holding back again Orochimaru, he will be defeated. Then there is sound of water dripping. Kakashi touched the water on his face and looked up. It's raining? Is God cry because of those two fights? Kakashi couldn't help but smile. This is really a common occurrence in Naruto's world. He then brought Yujao into a cave. After leaving a clone to take care of her, Kakashi decided to go back to the battlefield to see the fight. Although he knows that Orochimaru definitely won't kill Jiraiya, Kakashi still wants to check it out. After fighting against Jiraiya, Orochimaru must be in a weak state. Kakashi now has recovered a bit, so it's possible for him to escape if Orochimaru sees him. Explore new ovals on nfelby.com. Moreover, after fighting against Jiraiya, Orochimaru won't have any will to fight again. People always have feelings, even if Orochimaru is determined to break his bond with Jiraiya, his heart must still has a bit of reluctance. Kakashi knows that there will only be one result in the battle between these two, Jiraiya injured, and Orochimaru successfully escape. Kakashi start to move quickly through the forest. Soon, he finally arrives at the battlefield. Only this time the battle is already over. There is only one body lying on the ground. His whole body looks messy, but there is no trace of blood. The body is Jiraiya. His white hair looks a bit dark at the moment, with a lot of dust on it, and his headband wasn't on his forehead. Apparently it is missing in the battle. Kakashi stopped and stood in front of Jiraiya and whispered, Jiraiya-sama. Jiraiya hearing this raised the head, his bloodshot eyes look somewhat angry at this moment. Oh, you're here Kakashi. Jiraiya smiled and tried to show his usual self. Jiraiya-sama, let's go back now. Kakashi didn't ask for the result of this fight, and he also didn't say anything else. Jiraiya showed a bitter smile and said, Kakashi, you know, I really am a failure. I tried pursuit Tsunade for so many years and fails. Now even after being friends with Orochimaru for so many years, he has left too. What am I? Am I really a fool like Orochimaru said? Jiraiya-sama, you are you. Why do you care about how other people see you? In my eyes, Jiraiya-sama is a great shinobi, there is no doubt about it. Jiraiya looks shocked. Apparently he did not think that he was so good in Kakashi's mind. Haha, that's right. I'm the legendary Toad Sage Jiraiya. I need to do my best and stop thinking about my failure. Jiraiya laughed. It seems that the doubt in the heart has finally dispersed. Kakashi smiled and didn't say much. He helped Jiraiya stand up and said, Jiraiya, you're a great shinobi. You shouldn't ever try to doubt yourself again. You are right Kakashi. Shinobi can't never ever doubt himself. Jiraiya said, revealing his familiar smile. Now this is Jiraiya that people know.